We are Frank and Daphne, a couple of not-so-young cycle tourists from Canada, and we're off on another adventure in Europe. This time we're setting out to explore the Via Claudia Augusta, a historic route through the Alps that follows an old Roman road that connects the River Danube and the Adriatic Sea. We're flying into Frankfurt, so we'll be riding a few hundred extra kilometres from the airport to get to where the Roman road begins. And for the first time, we're being joined by a few of our friends for parts of this trip. So join us as we make our way from Frankfurt in Germany to the city of Venice in Italy, following in the footsteps of the Romans. So we have just left Donau LechCamping. It was a great place with a lake, and we had such a nice evening there after a swim yesterday evening. So today we are going to join the official Via Claudia Augusta route, which we've been excited about. And right around now, our friend Nancy should be landing in Munich with any luck, so we hope to see her tomorrow. Donau LechCamping is about halfway between the D9 route and the Via Claudia Augusta, and we're going to make our way southwest to try to join up with the Via Claudia. The Romantic Strasse, or D9, and the Via Claudia Augusta overlap in many places, but they don't follow exactly the same route. The Via Claudia tries, I think, to follow the original Roman road, which connected the Danube with the Adriatic Sea near Venice and the River Po in Italy. So we do believe we are on the official Via Claudia Augusta route now. I haven't seen a special sign for it. Pretty soon we did start to see the characteristic signs with the Via Claudia logo, as well as information boards with maps and historical information about the Romans and their road. So we just had our first history lesson about the Via Claudia and how the Romans communicated. This section was all fairly flat, and it took us through villages and lots of agricultural land, mostly crop growing. We didn't see any livestock. It's Sunday and it's noon, and we think we have found what might be the only coffee shop open in the area. So we'll see if it really is. We did deviate a ways from the route to find food in this little town of Meitingen, but it was worth it. The restaurant was full of cyclists stopping for Sunday lunch, and we followed suit, resisting the urge to indulge in the large selection of cakes and desserts they also had. And then it seemed only appropriate to find a nearby shady park and have a Sunday siesta and a break from the heat. Town of Meitingen, after a nice long siesta in the park there. I had a very, very large lunch of spätzle and turkey and cream sauce. And Frank had the same. On we go to the campground. We then crossed over the two sections of the River Lech. This is the other part of the Lech, the non-canalized part. Whew. And then once again we deviated off any official route to start heading towards a campground north of Augsburg, which had us on quiet gravel roads and more fields of various crops. Cabbage makes a change from corn. So the trouble with looking for campgrounds is a lot of them are not on the route at all, and we have to do significant detours to get there. So we've ridden a whole pile of gravel this afternoon through agricultural routes, through corn, potatoes, cabbage. Well, maybe that's the end of the gravel. We made it to our campground about 10 kilometers north of the city of Augsburg, and upon registering, were invited to follow a lady on a bike who would show us our spot. Better follow her. Oh, that looks nice. Ooh. Oh wow, this is so nice. Okay, great. It's lovely, thank you. Okay, the tent is up. We've had beer. Time for a swim. Stopping at this campground made for a rather short day of only 36 kilometers. But with the next campground another 50 kilometers south of here, we didn't mind at all, especially with this lovely spot right on a little lake. This is Monday morning in Lech-Camping north of Augsburg, and it's about 5 a.m. this morning. There was a big thunder and lightning storm and heavy rain, but the rain seems to have eased off now, so we're getting some breakfast, getting packed up.
Did you put sugar somewhere?
It's 11:15 and we're just rolling out of camp here at Lech-Camping. On Monday morning, the rain has stopped, the sun is trying to shine, so it's looking good. We're pointed southwards and aiming for Landsberg today. But first we're going to visit a city that rose up from military camp, set up in 15 BC by Drusus and Tiberius, stepsons of Emperor Augustus, when the Romans were building the trade route between Italy and their new power base in southern Germany. We made it to Augsburg. That was 10 kilometers from our campground. This city was named Augusta Vindelicorum by the Romans when they first settled here, after Emperor Augustus. He was the one who ordered the development of the road route through the Alps to connect to the northern reaches of the empire. It was most certainly one of the largest Roman towns north of the Alps and was the provincial capital of the Roman province of Raetia. We had a little ride around the centre of the city, only scratching the surface of what there is to see here. We cycled by the imposing dome or cathedral. We found a good spot for coffee and then a sports shop to stock up on camping fuel. We made our way to the Rathausplatz and saw the 16th century fountain dedicated to the Roman Emperor Augustus, and behind it the town hall and the Perlach Tower. One of the most unique aspects of Augsburg is the history of the Fuggers, a wealthy family of merchants and bankers who built a huge trade empire here and founded the famous Fuggerei, the world's oldest social housing complex, located not too far from here. We did pass by the Fuggerhäuser, a complex of houses built for this family of businessmen in the early 1500s. We rode on down Maximilianstrasse, an impressively wide boulevard that was indeed the exact route of the Via Claudia back in the day. There is the Lech, and we're going to follow that south to Landsberg. This lovely lady just gave us fruit and her cake, yes. And she's been really nice to us to keep us going.
Ciao.
Ciao. Yeah, that was great. That girl's name was Maria, and she had simply seen that we were touring and figured we'd enjoy some fruit and homemade cake. Well, this is nice, easy riding. Just a flat path following the River Lech south from Augsburg. Except we can't see the Lech, it's over there in the trees. But this isn't officially part of the VCA. It goes down farther west than this. But we chose this route to get a change from just all the agricultural terrain. This is the Lech River. Most of the time we can't see it, we're riding alongside it. There's a berm, probably storm protection, flood protection dike between our cycle path and the river. So we're just going over to have a look at it. So we're crossing the Lech. There's a reservoir on our left. We're in an area called Königsbrunn. This ride down along the Lech featured lots of pleasant woodland, and the temperature today was not nearly as hot as previous days and far more comfortable for riding. And we had a late lunch by a pretty stream. This cake that Maria gave us is delicious. Actually, it's got apple cake, but it also has a lemon flavour. It's yummy.
Oh, Maria was like from fairy tale.
I know. She was like our trail angel. We have at least 25k ahead to reach Landsberg. About 14k to Landsberg. Ah, 8 kilometers to Landsberg.
This way, right?
Yeah, I can see a dome.
It is part of Landsberg, or?
I would say so. So we are very close to Landsberg now, and that's the Lech River. And in Landsberg, waiting for us, is our dear friend Nancy. Nancy flew to Munich yesterday from Montreal, and she cycled from Munich to Landsberg today, and she's already there waiting for us. Hopefully she has some beers ready for us. There she is.
Oh my god. Oh my god. After 2 weeks, it's finally here.
I know! We've been planning this for so long.
How you doing, Peter?
Better now that I'm free, guys.
Yay!
Made it.
Did you order us a beer yet?
No, I was waiting because it was going to be warm by the time you got here.
Good plan, good plan.
No beautiful item.
Ah, finally.
Finally, after many months of planning.
Oh, today was the best day. I am
Was it
amazed.
nice?
Amazed. Like, I cannot believe how, like, I was on bike paths that seemed like roads. Wasn't sure because I hardly saw a soul, like, as soon as I got out of Munich.
Our friend Nancy is an avid road and mountain biker, but has never cycle toured before, apart from a short test ride of her new bike and setup back in Quebec. She's experiencing her first ride in Europe, and already she's waxing poetic about her day on the bike from Munich. And she has 2 more weeks ahead of her. Now we've become a threesome. We have Nancy with us. And we're here in Landsberg, having just enjoyed a beer together. We're in the old town now on the east side of the River Lech. Most of the newer town has actually grown up to the west of the river. Landsberg am Lech, to give it its full title, developed where a major historic salt road crossed over the River Lech. And like so many places in this part of Bavaria, it was also an important point on the Via Claudia Augusta. Today it is still at a crossing of major roads to Munich, Lake Constance, Austria to the south, and Augsburg to the north. We're going to ride a couple of kilometers south of town to the only campground in the area. So we're a group of 3 now, and we have groceries, and we're headed to find camping. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning at the campground south of Landsberg. Nancy's first morning. We enjoyed this really pleasant and spacious campground in the quiet country setting, and we took our time getting the tents dried out from the overnight dew and enjoying the morning.
Poppy strudel.
Whoa, Frank's favourite.
Yeah.
And coffee made by Nancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's Tuesday morning and we're about set to leave our campground. And it is 10:15, not exactly an early start, but here we go, we're not in a hurry. We're dealing with our first flat of the tour. We're not long into today and Frank got a flat on a gravel section. We were only 2.8 kilometers into today's ride when Frank got his flat. All sorted now and we're on our way. Not wanting to backtrack up to Landsberg to rejoin the official Via Claudia, we took what we thought would be a scenic route south to the next bridge over the Lech, where we'd rejoin the route on the west side of the river. In hindsight, maybe it wasn't the best choice, as it was convoluted and confusing trying to follow the Lech Radweg.
I'm liking it.
Good one! But we eventually made our way back to the now familiar Via Claudia signs. Okay, so we are 16 kilometers into today's convoluted ride and we are almost joining the Via Claudia Augusta official route now.
They like to be in the shade.
Yeah, don't blame them. In the village of Epfach, this little museum described a Roman settlement called Abodiacum that existed on a nearby hill here. Various models illustrated the appearance of the buildings and the extent of the fortifications in the 2nd and 4th centuries. Replicas and some originals show weapons and everyday items. This man was a local hero in a way. His name was Claudius Paternus Clementianus, and he came from this little village, but went on to be a powerful officer in the Roman army. We stopped to reapply sunscreen. 32 degrees today. This is the first really good view we've had of the distant mountains. Probably doesn't show up on the GoPro, but yeah, we have a good view now. We found a unique spot to have a beer break just before reaching the town of Schongau. This beautiful little house here, or cottage, is attached to a bed and breakfast, but they hold functions here in this little cabin, and when it's not in use apparently they open it up to cyclists on the Via Claudia, and they just have an honesty box inside where you can pay for your beverages. We've now reached the gates of the old town of Schongau. The important strategic position of the town on a defensible hill above the Lech means it has a very long history of settlement. And today it boasts many picturesque half-timbered buildings, cobblestone streets and breathtaking views of the Bavarian Alps. We sat and enjoyed some lovely late afternoon coffees in the square here before getting back on the bikes again. And we're back on the Via Claudia now. And it's 6 p.m. South of Schongau, the Romantic Road and the Via Claudia Augusta start to head into the Alpine foothills and through smaller villages. This is also the start of a part of Bavaria that is known as the Favenwinkel. The name comes from the local dialect for priest and literally means priest's corner. It's famous for its pretty rural scenery and the number of historic churches and monasteries.
Beautiful sun going down.
There goes Frank. It's cooled right down now. It's such a nice, comfortable riding temperature. We still have a ways to go to our campground, maybe 20k. Again, we have a really nice view of the mountains ahead, but probably not showing up too well on this camera. We're back close to the River Lech again now, and pretty soon we'll be along the Lechstausee, which is more a reservoir than a lake really. And on its shores is a very large campground called Via Claudia Camping. Today we had wonderful scenery with a fair amount of climbing also, but it's starting to be very exciting and maybe just a little intimidating as we now get closer to the mountains. Arriving in Lechbruck, no, Via Claudia Camping. Not too shabby. Yeah, it's 20 to 8 and we just arrived at our campground. First things first, nice bit of beer